But anyway, so these are codes. These are again things that we can define. Every action defined a lot already that we're already in there. I've entered other things, and as I meet with various people, we'll probably grow and add more. I'm going to come over here because from this angle I can barely see what's up there. It's much easier to stand here. So, and it also is by categories. So they're grouped. So I use the grouping of member so that we can flag our members and what type of member they are. Are they an active member? So we have it by year so that you can just pull each year all my 2023 members. If you wanted to see who's my 2022 members that haven't paid it, you could pull that list and say, here's the 20 people that I should bug because they were members last year and haven't paid their dues this year, so that you can flag them as active. But again, it's just a code and a flag on their name so you can find them. And there's different types of designations that I've seen as I've met with some of the people already. So we've created charter member, couples membership, lifetime member, non-citizen, transfer, youth. But we can add more if there are other designations like member that you want to track for your own folks. Then we also created some for the officers. And again, this is a lot for, well, probably, just for yourself, as I've seen in the few spreadsheets that I've seen or on your websites that you've listed your officers. So now you can put a code in there for them. They were your officer of which year. And then this is an additional field where you can tag. So if I were to go into Portland right now and go search on the tag 2023 local officer, I'll see everybody that was an officer. So I'll see Kitty, I'll see Gloria, I'll see Helen. You won't, well, no, I was going to say you won't see me, but you will see me because I'm now an officer, sorry. Before you wouldn't have seen me. And then also, same thing, I created a tag for the national officers so that national can find all the officers, because they're going to be across the lodges. But there's other tags too, so there's a tag for interests and various things, and we can, the categories are defined in every action, but the actual, like I use organization, what the word that the actual tag is, we can add those ourselves, and there's no limit to how many of these activist codes that we can put in. So we're adding the year, so we'll have thousands by the time we're done, or continue to go, and we can keep adding. They said there's no limit. So this is a good field to be able to use that we can use for designation because there is no limit and we don't have to worry. This is just an example of a member, and I will go into the application as long as the internet stays. I had to pull the plug out and back in again for it to switch back. But anyway, this is me, and what I just wanted to show here is what I call the desirable fields, but the fields that CACH wanted to add. So we added admission year, PIN, veteran information is blank for me, and then one of the fields I created to help us track membership and current membership is current year's dues paid. So I paid my dues this year, so I put in $20. And then also you can see activist codes, and this is just an example of activist codes that have been applied to a person. These are my activist codes. They're not quite all of them because I could click view all and I might list a few more. But again, these are just things that you can assign to people at will. And obviously there was name address that was on the other screen, so I didn't show that on this screen. But the next area I'll show you is really, in my opinion, very powerful, and how we can use it is creating a list. So this is just pulling down all your members or a group of your members on certain criteria. So as each of you log in for your first time, once you've loaded your people, you could just click Run Search with no criteria, and you will get all your members, regardless if they're active or not, officer or not. It would just give you a full list of everybody. And you can actually export that list and pick fields that you want to print or display for whatever reason. We're using it to print, and I want to show the email addresses, and then I sent an email to all the members who hadn't paid yet to say, it's time, just a reminder, you haven't paid your 2023 dues. But you can do that with a create a list, because I could create it putting in criteria to say, tell me the people that haven't paid their dues yet. So, but like I said, to me this is very powerful, so you can find a list of people. And you can start with a big list and say, I want to remove some people. I want to remove, I don't know if you could do this, but let's say I want to remove all the chins, because I know that's my family. They've already done whatever, so I don't want to see the chins, but I want to see everybody else. But it really is very powerful on how you can add and subtract people to pull down a list of interests. So you pull them, like for Gloria, one of her key areas is civic engagement, and so if we put the tags there that these are the people involved in civic issues, she can pull that list and just email those people to have a conversation with them. So again, you know, she can see their phone numbers and addresses in the Portland March. So that sort of information is definitely available. For common searches, you can save a folder, which I've done for the Portland Lodge too, so that they can, like someone like Helen who's not going to maintain the system, or I'm assuming, I've created her some list that she can just say, show me all the current members, show me people that haven't paid, you know, different things like that, and she can just run those searches without creating it, because I've created it for her and named it. So this is just a simple one, again, not to show a whole bunch of different people. I just created one. It's creating a list, and I just said, show me everybody that's Billy Chin, B-I-L-L-I-E. And so it actually found 2, because there's Billy Chin Jr. And these are just people that I typed in as an example. So they don't truly exist. I will delete them, Kenny and Gloria. Don't worry. But again, here's create a list. So I created this list is, I wanted to search on all the active members. And so, because we have that activist code for active member, I pulled this list, and this is something I added to the procedures for mid-year and end of year. I pulled this list, I forget, fairly recently, probably I think around the 9th or something, but here's everybody that is an active member, so 53. So that's a report that I can send to the VP of membership to say we have 53 active members, 53 times 15, here's your check. And then it actually displays in detail the list, because I'm not sure if that's something that National gets, but if you needed the list names, the list of names is also there too. I didn't display it just because I didn't want to show everybody's name. But you see that green box there, I said export. That one is important. If I really wanted to get all 53 people, maybe I want to send them a thank you for saying thank you for renewing, here's some stuff going on, whatever. That would give me, I could export that list and just pull all the email addresses or street addresses if I was going to mail them a letter or whatever. But that gives me that capability.
What was bulk apply?
Bulk, let me see.
Previous slide.
Yeah, I don't know how to go backwards. Because I keep my other, what bulk apply, sorry I can't go backwards. Bulk apply is just, I have that list, and if I wanted to, let's say that was the active members, and I just want to mark them all as being pinned, just as an example. And I could, from that list, right from that screen, say bulk apply, update this field, all to pin, boom, everybody would be marked. Now you can also, when you export, you could export that list, and let's say now I have all my active members, but I know some of these people haven't been pinned. And so I could export a list and mark yes, no to who has been pinned and who hasn't, and then upload that using this bulk load capability, and it will upload the information for that one field or multiple fields by what's on the spreadsheet. So you can do mass updates, but it doesn't have to be mass update everybody to have the same thing. But it's a mass update of this exported list that you have that you pulled down criteria for. So again, I think very powerful. Should we just do different things as you feel the need, if you will. So here, there's bulk load capability. This is how we loaded Portland. I'm sure that's how San Antonio and Seattle were loaded, by just loading it up on a spreadsheet. I've already talked to San Gabriel, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. They all are ready to give me spreadsheets. I'll review them. I'll help them load. So I'm willing to help load data, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to be the only trainer, Ken, but I'm, I will train, you know, through Zoom. I don't know if we'll need, you know, physical one-on-one for me to go somewhere, but I think that's a TBD to be discussed. But I'm happy to train, and again, I'm hoping that the user guide is something that you can take after you've had some training and introduction into the system to kind of follow along. And it had great input from Christina, Kay, and Jenny on how to adjust it to make it palatable for people. So I hope that it's explainable enough. And I know it's being routed around, but I just wanted to, this is just a couple of pages or, you know, highlights of the thing. I have a table of contents kind of grouping together the information and how to find it. And then really I go through step by step, thank you, step by step, you know, with some screenshots to say, click this button, enter this information in this box, and things like that, to try to make it, I call it idiot proof, you know, and it's not really, but I've had to train idiots, you know, who really didn't know, so they really wanted to know the specific fields to touch. So I'm not thinking anybody in here is an idiot. Actually, at my other job, we called it the Army Manual, because the Army Manual is very specific. Do this, then this, click here, go here, that thing. But anyway, that's what it is. And then I created a terminology. This was a lot for me, just because I was new to the lodge, to CACA. And so understanding the words that maybe every action calls something may not be how we call it here at CACA. Like, we're using this for members, but in every action, you're just a contact. And it's the act of paying dues and being marked as an active member that you become a member. So your people that you load up don't have to be just your members. And again, that's a choice, and I don't know if it's a discussion with national and how you want to do that, but it doesn't have to be just the people that pay. Or it could be people that paid last year, but they haven't paid yet this year. So you can have them in the system. Now I will, oh sorry. Is this not on?
It's on.
Oh, but I was reading it. Yeah. Okay. I can go into the application. We have 15 more minutes. Well, I'm going to put this down so I can log in, but if people have questions, you can start asking it, and then I'll pick this back up again while I'm logging in. Yes?
I have a question. I noticed that one of the slides says the year 2023, but you said it can also go backwards. Or not backwards, but any year. I guess my question is the intention for us as a lodge to start 2023 and go forward, or is the intention to put, 20 years history into the database, because 19 whatever, what do you want the lodges to do?
I think the initial intention, and we'll see what Ken says, and the initial intention is let's get all the current members in there. Okay. So I would say get your 2023 members in there, but if you want to then go backwards and load historical information, you can. So I had time, so I loaded Portland's historical information all the way back to 2013. I used the 2023 list as the current members, and then I said if they were in the membership list on prior years, I'm going to put that information in. So I'm going to load past officers. I'm going to mark them as active members in those previous years that they paid dues. Now, if they skipped a year or 2 years and didn't pay dues and then they picked up again, that's what I did. I put in active member for the years that they were an active paid member. But I think that's up to each lodge. When I was talking to San Gabriel, he was speaking to me when I should have been talking to all of you, sorry, at my watch. He had information going pretty far back, and so if he chooses to, I can show him how to load that, I can help him load that. But again, I think that the most important thing right now is your current members and moving forward. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yes, and Nancy, national presidents, past national presidents must think the same way because Munson emailed me the same question you had the last session about archiving, old membership information. So while Gigi is loading that up, I'm going to share some information with you. Don't tell the other group that was here earlier, but you are my favorite group, okay? So because you're my favorite group, I'm going to share some information with you. We have a small file hub that we're using to store and disseminate electronic information, documents and so forth. I'm going to pass you this instructions, okay? I haven't tried it out with more than 7 users, so if everybody slams it, they go down, okay? I can only have so many computers at home before I run out of space. So I'll load up as much as many of the documents that are available to me. But you find things like, launch reports and things like that in there.
So this will become a repository of history for all the lodges?
No, it's just my little file hub right here. Just so we can use while we're in here. Once we're out of here, we'll do something else.
So,
Hey, we got our own archive.
Yeah.
I have
So-
a question about tags.
yes,
So you have the tags of like 2023 member, 2021 member, active member, youth member, whatever. Will that be the standardized tag code for all lodges, national, everybody? And is there going to be, I guess, a glossary or legend for everyone to like be able to tag individually, so we're just more consistent?
yes. And that was one of the things in at least in the last presentation, I don't know if I said, when those are activist codes, actually what you said, actually the tags too. I think they should be created by national, because only national can share them across all lodges, just because of the access we set up. So I have a user guide for national. Ken has a user guide where every year he's got to go in there and load up, or whoever succeeds him. But he has to load up 2024 active member. He has to load up all the officer titles with the year prefaces on it. And then any of the lodges can assign that to their people.
So
Yes.
just to be clear, if Portland wants a specific activist code, do we have to clear that through the administrator or national, or can that lodge have their particular activist code? Like Portland will probably want, are they getting the MailChimp newsletter? So that's, and can MailChimp tie into the system, number one. Number two, on fundraising, how can we use this as our, instead of our Excel spreadsheets that we currently use now for the history of all of our fundraisers? Can that tie into the system?
So definitely each lodge can create activist codes. And again, a little bit, I think, if the lodges collaborate and say, I would care about that code too, then national can take over ownership and then share it across. And I know you can do that because I accidentally created one in Portland and I thought, oh, wait a minute, I was supposed to be a national because I have access to both. And so I took it over and then I shared it with all the lodges. And so, if you have something, well, let's say we created an activist code for the Portland cookbook. Now, since it's called the Portland cookbook, none of the other lodges probably care or want to know about that. That could be your own code, let's say. But I think in a lot of cases, they'll become shared. And I think that's why I think would be helpful just to let national do it, or you start it and then say, oh, by the way, Kim, please take this code and now share it with everybody. Because
I
that
have
can be
3
done.
cookbooks left, you guys. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah. Any other questions? And I know lunch is here, although you're not supposed to eat it for another 10 minutes. But even for the rest of today, I will be here. And so I'm happy to meet one-on-one with anybody or in a small group. And I can show the application some more, a little closer up. We can spend the next few minutes going in here if you'd like, though. And then I will be available for a good part of tomorrow.
Or
So does anybody want to see something specific that because I have the application open right now. I'm logged into the Portland Lodge, so I'll be a little bit careful depending on what you want to see, that I will do a similar thing, but if you'd like to see like a search or something, I can do that.
just as an example, can you just show one of the, just a list of officers?
A list of officers, absolutely. So let me go in here. So here's, see here, it says tags. Now, just to let you know that I wasn't being sneaky, but I had to put Portland Lodge here since I've given myself access to everything. I have to specifically say only Portland to pull a list just in Portland. But here in tags, I could say local officers, okay? So I've now selected that, and that's the only thing I'm selecting. So when I run search, I don't think I'll cross it. Well, actually, I did confirm with all the officers that I could display their name. So here's all the officers in Portland. Since Kitty is here, can I open up here since show the activist code? She gave me the thumbs up, so I've gotten the approval. Here are her activist codes, and so you could see that she's an active member. Let's see if I can view also. She's got a lot of activist codes because I've loaded history for Portland of every year that she was a paid member, so you can see what I have here. As long as the spreadsheet that I was given was current, these are all her activist codes. But so here she was vice president in 2021. Here, go ahead.
Going back to the other list of officers,
Yes.
you can go back.
Yeah. So this is now. Oops, I have to close this. Sorry. Yes.
I see the list and I see their officers, but it doesn't say what their office is.
What their officers
So
are.
can I add that somewhere? Or is there a way?
I have to double check that. I think there's some capabilities to adjust the fields that they show in this grid, but
Maybe if into them, they'll show up in their profile,
Right,
right?
but, if you wanted to see the list of officers and say, this is president, this is vice president, or that's not there. So you have to go to touch each person and find out what their office is. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you need, like National will actually ask, give me your list of officers.
Yeah, Gigi, I thought we had an activist code for that.
Who's president, who's vice president.
well, so yes, we do. But what she's saying is so to each of these people that are showing on this list now, they have a different activist code because they have a different title. So like for me, my title is interim secretary. For Kitty, help me, I thought we were Marshall. Gloria is vice president.
Yeah.
But that's not showing. What you could do is we could export this list and show their show the activist code.
Because I thought we had an activist code that specifically said 2023 local lodge president.
We do.
Yes.
I just said that.
Yeah, right.
But see, so this is so what we did a search on, Ken, was everybody that's a 2023 local officer. So this is the list,
Okay,
but she
okay.
wants to see right here in the grid, which
Okay.
I'll have to see if it's possible.
Okay.
Just say the titles right here.
Okay.
I mean, that might be a suggestion if it's not possible to add it, to make it possible, because, for the convention, on the steering committee, elections, we need a list of officers. So it'd be a lot easier for the local lodge person to just hit that whatever button and then send me that list instead of I know there's
But
8 of people, but then I need to know who is the president, who's the vice president, who's the whatever.
right,
And the person will
right,
have to put
absolutely,
it in.
absolutely. Well, and for me, I think this is part of my workshop and
Right.
presentation to get these questions and say, can we get that simply?
Right.
I'm not sure if it is. We might have to use a field in the person's name where, like I said, if we look at Kitty, let's say, so what happens is, we saw this list, so let me just show you a feature. Now I'm on Kitty's contact record in the system, her member, and so we can see all these different fields, that's the name. We could take one of these and change additional salutation, let's say, and put her title there.
Yeah.
You know, and then I can try to see if I can print, you know, show that on that grid that you saw.
Right.
But that's a possibility, but those are some things we have to play around with to see, can we do that? Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, but it's potentially possible, I don't know. This system wasn't thinking about doing things like that, I guess. And so we wanted to capture who's been an officer each year,
Right.
what titles did they have, but pulling that list down might be a little more complicated. I could probably pull down all the, if I was at national, I could say, give me all the local officers, secretaries, because that's one activist code. But to see all the local officers, that's why I created that tag, that besides giving Kitty the activist code of her specific officer title, I also created a tag to say she's also a local officer, so I could just pull up that whole list. But the one neat thing that you can do on any list that you've pulled is once you went to that list, she was the first person. I could click here, and I could look at each person really quickly. Okay, so I can cycle through the list. And then, oh, wait a minute, I couldn't remember what I just saw. I can go backwards, so you can go forward, backwards. So I can see this list. So here's Gloria, and so you can see her title. So you can see that she's, you know, vice president under the activist code, but we had to go into her contact record to see it. So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So let me see if,
I mean, I think what you have is very useful, but, you know, we need to make it more useful.
yeah, exactly. I know, because, I mean, the Portland spreadsheet had right up at the top, these are the officers, and then repeated all the names of members, which they were, again, also on that list. So I totally get what you're saying. I did, I'm going to write that down and see what I can figure out.
So can you just, for clarity, define what's the difference between a tag and what's an activist code?
So they're actually very similar, but with a tag, you can tag. So the activist codes you assign directly to a person. So everybody in this room can have multiple activist codes. Tags can go across different types of things because this application allows events. And so I could tag an event to be whatever. And then I could tag members, let's say, that attended that event with that same tag. So I could have everybody that went to the 1882 celebration. And it would tell me about the event as well as the attendees, let's say. As an example, I don't know if that's a good example, but that is something that you can do. So tags let you go across different types of programs or basically different types of records in the system. Activist codes are just to people because of their activists. Gloria?
I have two questions because I noticed on the left-hand side, what did we purchase? Because I know we can't do all the functions. What functions did we purchase on the national level? And are local lodges allowed to add on to those purchases for their own use? Because the purpose of any membership system in any nonprofit is development, cultivation, and lapsed memberships. Because that's how you track who you need to bring back in, which is very critical, I think, at this time, and has been for CACA. So I'm trying to, this information is really good and learning how to use it will be really helpful, but we need to take that into a planning strategy session. So I'm curious to see what other components you have thoughts about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, and again, the initial directive I was given and the goals for this project was to get membership setup and tracking of dues. But I definitely see other capabilities in there. You can send targeted emails. And so like I was able to pull a list of the 2022 members, but they're not paid in 2023 yet. And I could send them all an email if I chose. And I actually, if I would learn how, to put their first name in there to say, hello, Gloria, I'm glad you were a member last year. You know, is there a reason why you know, whatever I might do in my letter, but you can do that. I haven't figured it out. I've never done that before, but I have yet to play with it. But you definitely can do emails, and that's where I think the activist codes help, because you can tag people to say these people are interested in these certain things. We use the activist codes to say they're a member, or they're an inactive member, they're a lifetime member, whatever. That you can group together different people that you're trying to find and address. And they have some fundraising capabilities in here, because again, if you saw when I created the list, you know, it showed, you know, how many people had home addresses if you were trying to reach out, send letters, or how many people that had phone numbers that you can call, different things like that. But I haven't dug into it.
Those are great questions, and you know, again, our approach has been, let's start slowly and be successful and build on that. So those additional functions, as you use the system and as you see fit, bring them up to national so that we can look and see. Again, I don't think that we want to buy one function just for one lodge and one lodge's use, but the functions should be applicable across all lodges, right? So you find something and say, hey, this is a great function to have, let's show it to the other lodges. Right?
Exactly.
But again, it's
My
about
concern is
walk
that each
and
lodge
run.
is so at such different stages of development that it's going to be really difficult and not timely.
But see, I
Yes.
look at it a little bit, and just to throw in my 2 cents worth, is someone could champion that, like someone that knows how to do MailChimp and emails where it says, hi Gloria, or hi Kitty, but then I have maybe, you know, a template of information, I'm filling in more information. I've never done that, but someone can help me champion it. Jenny was going to help me, but then, you know, she went off to New York City for her graduate degree.
That part we can do.
But that same sort of thing, because everything that we have access to, you have now, I've given you the access. Things that I know that we're not doing right now, I've tried to remove it just to simplify your menu so you don't see so much.
So I
But
get what you're saying, Ken. It's just everybody get on the same page for now,
Right.
and then see where we go next.
Yeah. So
There's so
great
many
points, though.
Interesting.
Yeah. Those are great points. I'm going to go and thank you guys for being here, taking time to listen to this. That's going to help in the rollout of the system for the entire organization. And I want to thank Gigi again. Amazing work you've done for us. Thank you so much. And again, we're working on the next list of lodges to roll out to. And again, I want to thank, you know, Christina, Jeannie, and I think I'm missing the other lady, Kay, for being the first guinea pigs. And we're going to have more training so that we can do trainer-trainer, so you can go back to your lodge and train your folks on how to use this, okay? So I think we're going to run into the lunch crowd now, so thank you very much. And if you have any questions after this, please find Gigi. She'll be here the rest of today. I'm part of tomorrow. All right?
yeah.
So hammer with lots of good questions, okay? Thank
And
you.
for those
Thank you
people
very
that
much.
got they got the paper, you know, the copy, the last page has my email. And so you can email me, you know, with further questions. I didn't put my phone number down.
And I'll try to put your presentation on the file hub so you can download it and you can see it at your leisure. Okay?
And then I'll give you a copy, a PDF copy of the user
Great.
guide.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Got an extra
Thank you all.
copy?
The
Yeah.
what?
Not yours, hers.
No, I don't. Shit. We only
You're
got
gonna get some later, right?
Well, I'm going to put it online. You can download it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
you can
Yeah, I
file
got it. I got it.
Okay.
Your file. Oh.
Yes.
So, Ian,